Captain Randy Burton of the Forgiven Fishing Team out of Scotts Hill, North Carolina.
I'm Sheila Burton. We've been competitive fishing for about 8-9 years now. I've always fished, just kind of off and on with my parents and growing up, but we started competitive fishing and saw king mackerel circuit. For the most part, it goes pretty smooth, but sometimes, you know, it gets a little tense when you've got a fish on and you're trying to do 3 things at one time. And I've threatened to throw him off the boat a couple of times, but he hasn't hit the water yet, so it's all good.
A lot of people think that you can, you know, you wake up on Saturday morning, you put your boat in, you go catch some bait. Hey, you're gonna go out and catch a 50-pound fish, you're gonna go in and win. No, not happening. The biggest part to getting ready for the Nationals is just that, it's getting ready. So last year, we got ready, we came up to Morehead City. Thursday, the weather was pretty nice. We hit some of our hot spots throughout the years that have been great, and we fished with the fleet and just couldn't make it happen on Thursday. Had maybe an 18-pound fish to end the day on Thursday. So you sort of lick your wounds that first evening. There's some nicer fish caught, a few caught and weighed, and you think you're behind the 8 ball because we had bad weather moving in on Saturday, our second day. So we get up to our room that night, and you know, I'm thinking it's going to be a Hail Mary Saturday morning. The weather's going to be bad. It's just, what can we do? So it pops in my head. You know, I said, look, we've had SiriusXM on the boat, SiriusXM Marine and fish mapping. I said, you know what? I'm not going to listen to anybody tonight on the phone. I'm going to pull my fish mapping app up on my phone, and I found a spot off of Ocracoke Inlet where our hard temperature break was. And it was at 9:33. I remember to this day, I'll never forget it. It was 9:33 p.m. I found that spot, screenshot it. I said, that's where we're going to start in the morning. I'm going to rely on this app. It's putting everything together. I'm not going to listen to hearsay, and we're going to just start a fresh slate in the morning. So got on the boat the next morning. I plugged in the number to start, and it was showing, you know, off of Ocracoke Inlet. And it just started out a dreary morning, wind blowing out of the south at 20 before daylight, mist and rain, rough. And we run a particular place out of an unmarked inlet up Core Sound for people who don't know, and you go out what's called Drum Inlet, and Drum Inlet can be treacherous. We followed another teammate that's very knowledgeable of the area, turned up toward Ocracoke, put our spot in, and just true to form, once I got within 100 yards of the spot we marked, that temperature break was there. It went from 62 to 68 degrees, just like that. I marked it on the Simrad, on the screen. I said, let's put a few baits out and just see what happens. We weren't marking anything on the bottom, no bait fish. It was just a temperature break. And fish mapping saying, hey, this is your area that we're recommending. So first bait goes out, a bluefish on the, we're gonna put a bluefish medium long, and we were getting ready to hook another bluefish, and our first king of the day skied like 8 feet out of the air, and that turned out to be the 53-pounder. Immediately, we went into fighting mode, managed to get that fish on the boat while fighting a second fish, and until 11:15 or 11:30, we couldn't get more than 2 lines in the water. It was all Sheila could do to stay following fish. We would gaff fish, we'd upgrade, and about maybe 10 o'clock, we were down to our last few bluefish, and we put one back on the short line and a big king skied on it. And that was our 55-pounder. The SKA allowed us to say, hey, you know, the fog's bad, you guys come on in and we'll keep an eye on you, we'll let you tie up at the dock. I'll never forget, we put that fish on the scales, and I sort of looked around, I'm not that good at math, and somebody walked by and said, hey man, y'all are in the lead. I'm like, well, I don't see Henry Tillett, I don't see Jody and that crowd, you know, some of the names you hear in this industry that are really good at what they do. But when they closed the scales and we found out, and I walked by and it was one of the tournament folks that was like, you know, give us the thumb. I'm like, oh my God, I just don't know how to act. To be our first tournament win, and for it to be the SKA National Championship, that's something as a teenager, you always want to be a part of that club. And for that to happen, we still hadn't absorbed it. It was just a phenomenal day, and everything come together. God shined on us that day, and everything came together.